Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain this concept, classification of living organisms, and I will teach you everything you need to know on this topic. So the first thing is that there are five major kingdoms of living organisms. Five major kingdoms of living organisms. So this includes kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalae. Now, so out of all these five kingdoms of living organisms, only kingdom Monera is a prokaryote. Now, what are prokaryotes? So prokaryotes are organisms with prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotes. So these are organisms with prokaryotic cells. Now, what are prokaryotic cells? These are cells that lack membrane-bound organelles. Make sure that at any point in time in this video, just make sure if you are confused, you can pause the video and play it again, so to enhance your understanding of every part of the video. Now, the first thing is that prokaryotic cells are cells that lack membrane-bound organelles. Membrane-bound organelles. And what are membrane-bound organelles? So these are organelles inside the cell that lack their own membrane. So now, example of that, we have the nucleus, we have the mitochondrion, we have the chloroplast, and we have vacuole, etc. So these organelles are said to be membrane-bound organelles because they have their own membrane inside the cell. So in the prokaryotic cells, you should not see these organelles in them because they lack these organelles. And most especially the nucleus. They don't have the nucleus, they will not have the mitochondrion, they will not have the vacuole. If they are plant cells, they will not have the chloroplast. Alright. So out of all the five kingdoms of living organisms, only kingdom Monera is a prokaryote, meaning that it contains organisms that are prokaryotes. The rest of the kingdoms are eukaryotes, meaning that they contain organisms that are eukaryotes. And what are eukaryote organisms? What are eukaryotes? So eukaryotes are organisms that have eukaryotic cells. So organisms that contain eukaryotic cells are called eukaryotes. And here's now the questions. What are eukaryotic cells? Eukaryotic cells are cells that have membrane-bound organelles. They are the opposite of the prokaryotic cells. These cells have membrane-bound organelles, and I've already defined what membrane-bound organelles are. So these are organelles inside the cell that have their own membrane. Example, mitochondrion, nucleus, chloroplast, vacuole. So these organelles now they will have this. They will have them. So they will have nucleus, they will have mitochondrion, they will have chloroplast if they are plant cells, and they have vacuole as well. So in a nutshell is that there's one thing I have to call attention to, and that is the fact that there is an organism that is not classified into any of these five kingdoms. And this organism is called the virus. The virus. Virus is not classified into any of these kingdoms. Virus is not classified into any of these kingdoms because virus can live as a living organism and as a living thing and as well as a non-living thing. So virus can live as a living thing and as well as a non-living thing depending on the host, on the type of host where the virus is found. So virus found on a living host. So virus found on a living host. So virus found on a living host. So it's called a virus. It's called a virus. And non-living hosts. So a living host virus is said to be virus, normal virus that we know. Why this one is said to be virion? So virion is a virus on a non-living host. So when virus is found on a non-living host, is said to be virion. But virus that is found on a living host is normal virus that we know. So the fate of virus being a living organism depends on the fact of um the type of host where it's found. Now, since I've explained now, by now you should have learned that there are five major kingdoms of living organisms: kingdom monoram, protista, fungi, plantae, and animalae. And also by now you should have learned that only kingdom monorans are prokaryotes, meaning that they have organisms that are made of prokaryotic cells, while the rest of the kingdoms are eukaryotes, which means that they have organisms that are made up of eukaryotic cells. And also, I've explained to you what a prokaryotic cell is. They are cells that lack membrane-bound organelles, while eukaryotic cells are cells that have membrane-bound organelles. And also, by now, you have learned that virus does not belong to any of the listed kingdoms. Why? Because virus can live as both living thing and a non-living thing, depending on the type of host where virus is found. So virus found on a living host is a normal virus that we know. While virus found on a non-living host is just like a crystal of dust or particles, and that is called a virion. Right, so in my next video, I'm going to explain in details what are the kingdom monerans, what are the organisms that are found in kingdom monerans, and example of organisms that are found in kingdom monerans as well. Then we are going to continue the class like that until we finish the kingdom animalia. Right, so see you in my next video.